Welcome to the monthly series of this Law of Prosperity. Tracy normally hosts this session. I just want to find out that actually today we have something very special for you guys here, and to actually get the better engagement, will be great that you guys actually switch on your camera so that we can be able to help to connect better. And this is a very exclusive group. You can see us, we can see you. That would be fantastic. You can switch on your camera that way. And you know what? I'm going to pass on to Tracy and be on the background to actually watch and listen to this special broadcast with a very special guest over here. Okay, Tracy, would you like to actually move on from here?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Today's session is a monthly event that I do every third Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. Singapore time. So I will focus mainly on the law of prosperity. So this month is very special because it's December. We are, every one of us, looking for something good, something prosperous, something success for 2023. So I especially invite my special guest today. I will introduce my special guest to you later. Before that, some of you are in our students already embarked on a journey with Mel Mentors Smart Traders program. Some of you may not know who we are. Aaron and Tracy, we are the founders of Well Mentors. Well Mentors provide the world most specialized tailored training to enrich people's life so that they can experience more passion, purpose, and fun and freedom. And we brought in Asia world-class trainers like Marianne McWilliams, the millionaire traders, legendary traders, Levy William from United States, the mentors of the mentors from United States, Joe Bauer, American leading internet marketers and traffic expert Derek Gill, and our transformation coach who is here today, Skip Archimedes, all of whom provide wealth generation expertise that is not easily accessible in the Asia. So Aaron and myself, we founded this company in 2003 and invested hundreds of thousands of dollars traveling around the world to discover the most specialized and customized training so that we are entrusted well-beginner to help people achieve results. So today we are very fortunate, as Marian mentioned in the EDM, there are three concepts of success in trading in the stock market. It is the strategies, the money management, and the third one is the manifestation. And today we will be focusing on the manifestation aspects. So we know Skip, since Skip, I know you since 2013, right?
Yeah.
I especially invite you to be the keynote speaker for our World Congress. Since then, we have been working together for some years, and until the recently the pandemic. So we have the privilege to invite you again. Some of you may have known Skip already. Some of you may not. Let me give you some some brief intro about who Skip is. Skip helps people to live their life in the best way possible. So its mission is to bring energy, possibility, achievement, health, vitality into the lives of those who have lost their focus. And especially this pandemic, most of us are lost our focus. We are focused on the surviving aspects of our life, most of them. So Skip we should all live healthy, vibrant energy with a fulfilled life. Live up to beyond 100 years, right? we all expect to live up to focus a program called Forever Young. So Skip journey is not as a smooth journey as every competitive gymnast who overcome serious injuries. When he was young, he has a lot of. He was very fat when he was a child, obesity, and also depressions. So gymnastic championship. Not long after he living a nightmare that he has broke his back. Many physicians. So Skip unwilling to accept the diagnosis, and he was inspired by Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee have the power of his self-belief, and he found a cure. And just within 6 months, he able to walk again. It's a miracle. And he also acrobatic champion again after 18 months. So we also call him the Miracle Man. So he went on through about why some people get stuck in thoughts and programs that don't serve them, while empower personal success and also health and vitality. So Skip, armed with these often forgotten secrets, he is and also authors. He wrote Skip, you have wrote 2 books, right?
Yeah.
And also his life, he also helping people to overcome the physical, financial, personal, nutritional, emotional, and spiritual problems in their life to be. We will talk about manifesting. Manifesting is also another word of manifesting. Share with you the most important aspects of the manifestation, which is the inner guidance. Every one of us, but a lot of them are untapped. A lot of them have a hidden these talents inside you. It's like computer. If you do not know you have a GPS, have that. The people who has aware that they have a GPS in their phone system, they're able to use it every single. A lot of energy, not making a lot of mistakes. So Skip, we're going to share with you how you can the inner guiding system within yourself. And maybe Skip will give you some intro. What is it all about? Skip.
On your platform, and there is no doubt that what we're going to be sharing over the next hour or so, it's going to be life transforming for those that at the highest levels. As Tracy just mentioned, please get your cameras on. I'm gobsmacked. There's 2 people with their cameras on at the moment. I'm looking at a whole room. You would not show up with a bag over your head. So please be here now and be here. Even that's where you're at, because the reason I say this is because if you truly want to manifest, and the challenge with the human mind in today's world is the mind's being pulled here, 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 and no one's even present in the. Your cameras on. This is unbelievable. Come on, guys. Right, Grace, Teresa, Anthony, Aaron, Iris, Stanley, Dale, Ernest. Come on, Dan, Sunil, Darnell, Jay, please get your cameras on. Why? Because you want here. Because what I'm going to be sharing with you, imagine this. Imagine you learning how to take something. Imagine taking something from the fabric of your mind and pulling it into this reality. The challenge is so many people are committed to something that's taken them out of the moment. If you're not living in the moment, time of it happening, 10 being, oh my God, it's going to happen. From 0 to 10, if you're not present in the moment, tell me now what in what your heart and soul desires. You manifest in the type of life that you want to live. Come on, type in the chat, 0 to 10. Where do you think you're going to be at if you're not living in the moment? 0 to 10. Come on, type. So type in the chat from 0 to 10. So Dow just said 2. Donabet says 4. Come on. Now, from a whole group of people, how many people we've got in here? We've got 40 people here, and we've had 5 people type in the chat. Now, what does this show you? Be there at some level, but if you're not there fully, I can tell you now, you're wasting your time. So I would great results. I have the fortune of coaching some of our world famous CEOs. I've worked with amazing people like Richard Branson, Joel Bauer, celebrities, movie stars, people have had #1 hit songs all around the world, world famous athletes. That's the only reason we don't market my one-on-one coaching. We don't promote it. But how come I can charge someone £100,000 a year and I give them 1 hour a week and they keep coming back to the results? Now, oh, look at this. Look, we've got some people in the room. So William, welcome. Donovan, welcome. Lang, welcome. Teresia, welcome. Chi. That's the first step. So Anthony Lee, Stanley, Ernest, Q, Chu, or Aaron, all of those people who have not got their cameras on. Because what we're talking about is tapping into something within you to create everything that you've made of is not from this world. Scientifically, we can prove that. Mostly what you're made of is carbon. Carbon comes from, that's a side of this world, but you're also made of stuff from this world. So you're a combination of both, which means what? We want a to our planet, to Mother Earth. Most people aren't even grounded. They're just living life up in their heads. And I say this to people, look, if you're in your head, you're dead. But because you've got that grounded energy that we can be fed, we also want to be fed from this universal energy as well. We want to be fed from this infinite energy that literally is making your heart beat. It helps, it makes the sun shine. It's gifting you 50,000 new cells every 3 seconds. And think about this, you're living in a self-generating machine. If you cut yourself, what's going to happen? You're going to regenerate more cells to be able to heal naturally. You are living in the most phenomenal thing that has ever been put on the face of this planet. The potential that you have is untapped. The potential that you have is almost unreadable because it's limitless. Now, here's the phase of life that we're going through. We've gone through many phases of life where now we're at, now, everyone, please listen to what I'm about to say, because this is the biggest game changer humanity's ever seen. Because of science, we now know what we are. Not because of some weird woo-wooey, someone like coming up with some idea. Because of science, we now know what we have as a human being. We know we're only going to be on this planet for the blink of an eye. Then the next generation takes over. Then the next generation. That's how life was set up on this planet. Now, tell me this, from 0 to 10, for those of you that are actually with us, tell me now from 0 to 10, 0 being, I'm not going to give any commitment, 10 being, I'm going to commit everything I can. From 0 to 10, put in the chat, let me know how much you are prepared to commit to your own greatness, to be able to manifest everything in your heart and style desires. Come on, put it in the chat. Let me see. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Okay, so now we've got some 10s flying up. Now, if everyone's putting a 10 in, your camera should be on. Because if you're not putting your camera on, here's what you're doing. You're showing that you're not coachable. Now, here's what I've learned. When Tracy said that my journey hasn't been easy, it hasn't. And I don't believe that anybody's journey to success, where they sustain that success, I don't believe it's easy. But I also believe this. If you only do what's easy in life, life's going to be hard. If you do what's hard in life, life can become super easy. So you've got to learn how to put more pressure on you than life, because everyone's looking for this easy road. Everyone's looking for the path of least resistance. Now, I'm talking about getting in a flow state, but I'm not talking about just making those easy decisions, because you have to understand this. Your life is exactly where it is right now because of the decisions that you've made. Hands up. I can see some of you now. So hands up, you agree with that? That your life is exactly where it is now because of the decisions that you've made. Come on, give me hands up if you're listening. Go on, Teresa. Go on, K-Jack. Tucker. Dale. Come on, give me a hands up. Yeah. Now, here's what I want to say. If you now want to start to manifest in ways that most humans don't think is possible, that mass consciousness won't be aware of the stuff that I'm going to share with you, because mass consciousness now is on destruction. How's that you agree this? Their own intelligence has turned against them. It's had them live life in the mind. It's have them judge what's going on around our world. Any of that stuff that comes from a judgment mind, we can never help the situation. Now, the phase that we're at now as a species, as humanity, for some people, it's going to be the best phase ever. And for others, it's going to be like hell. They literally have the choice of creating heaven and hell in our same reality. Now, here's what I want to share. Someone's got their mic on. So what I want to share is that the phase that we're going through now, everyone, please listen up, because this is way bigger than what you even think. The way that most people are living at the moment, we now know, and I'm launching a 5-part documentary series where we've got 25 of our planet's top gurus all filmed in this documentary series. And basically what we're sharing within that is how to live the best life ever, how we can start living forever young with all the pressures, with all the stresses. But the challenge is, and this is the biggest challenge, if you hand what you've been gifted out there to somebody else, you're handing away your power, you're handing away your intelligence, you're handing away your energy. Now, what we've got to understand now is that your life is exactly where it is because of the decisions that you've made. We've all realized that we need to start making better decisions. Why? Well, we got someone in our documentary series called Joe Dispenza. He shares that according to the psychological model, 90% of most people's thoughts and emotions in today's world are now negative. Hands up, you can relate to that. Thoughts, your own thoughts, or people that you know, their thoughts, most of their thoughts are negative. Now, why am I sharing all this before I'm giving you the solution? Because if I don't have you have awareness around what's happening around you in life, I'll give you the solution and it will just bounce off you and you'll go, oh, that's not what it is. And you won't even put it into practice, because this is now not about you having more information dumped in you. What we're talking about now is having a consciousness shift so that you start to go into a higher frequency. And we're going to go into understanding frequencies a little bit later, because we have to understand frequencies, because this physical reality that we live in there's two forces that govern it, and that all based around energy. One's an energy that flows with a wave, and another is an energy that is a particle. What we want is you flowing with a wave, because that way life, a higher form of intelligence, can start to guide you. Now, if we look at some of the greatest people that have ever been on our planet, whether they were songwriters, whether they were musicians, whether they were business leaders, whether they were parents, whether they were performers, artists, people who created. When you go and you speak to any single one of these creators, these people have done amazing things around the world, they all said the same thing. I felt that what I created was coming to me from a higher source. Hands up, you understand that there has to be a higher level of intelligence setting up this game of life for us. Give me a show of hands. I can only see Tracy and Aaron's hands up. Right. Okay. Now, of course there has to be, because you don't just get two eyes appear. And as intelligent as we are as a species, we still can't create human eyes. We know how to create them from an AI technology, but not with the consciousness flowing through them. So what we know how to do is we know how to create certain things, but there's something from outside of this world that we don't get when we plug into what makes us human. And what makes us human is our five senses. But I can tell you now, if you want to shift your life and the humans that you're connected to, we've got to get our information, we've got to get our stuff from a higher source of intelligence. Some call it God, some call it the universe, some call it Lord, whatever you want to call it, source energy. Doesn't matter the name you call it. We understand that there is something out there greater than us that's fueling us. That's given us an incredible planet to live on. That's given us other humans to connect to. That's given us other species to connect to. Because when we start to understand that we're not living on this planet alone, and that the secret of living is giving, but now just quickly type in the chat, who's the first person in your life that you got to give to? Come on, type it in the chat. Who's the first person in your life that you got to give to? Come on, put it in the chat, put it in the chat. Yeah, yourself. No. So Donabet, who says my child? No. It has to be you. Because if you go and give to your child and you're not giving to you, at some point, you're going to put a crack in your ship. And you've heard the saying, small cracks can sink big ships. Now, if there's a crack in your ship, what's going to happen is stuff's going to filter out that crack. And as that water's flowing out that crack and your ship is sinking and sinking and sinking, eventually you're going to go and give at your own expense. And then here's what will happen long term. You'll end up resenting giving to your child because you're giving to your child at the expense of you. Here's one of the first things I teach people. You've got to learn how to fill your cup up. And this is what we're going to be teaching you through this conversation with Tracy, that as you fill your cup up, everything that overspills, you're going to start to give back to other people. But you're not going to go and give to anyone or anything until your cup is filled up. So what have we got to fill your cup up with? Well, lots of good stuff, good thoughts, good emotions, good beliefs, good nutrition, good relationships, good hobbies, good stuff that's going to take your time up, whether it's your work, because the only thing that you can't get back is your time. Now, what we're talking about here is learning how to invest better. If you don't invest in you, I can tell you now, all of what you invest in will come crashing down. I guarantee it. If you're not working well, there's no way that things that outside of you can work well either. When we get you working well, there are three ways that we can experience any form of life. And this is what we're going to be focused on as we go through this conversation. So there's only three ways that you can focus on with any life. Any life. Now, what are those three ways? Put it in the chat. Anyone? What are those three ways that you can experience life? There's only three ways that you're going to experience life on this planet. What are those three engines that we experience life through? So Donabet says beliefs. So where do beliefs come from? They come from the mind. So the mind is one. Come on, type in the chat. What else? What else? we can experience life through the body. And the third one is we can experience life through our spirit. Now, here's what I want to share, because what I'm going to be sharing with you is going to be so different than what you would have learned from other wealth mentors. Wealth mentors, there we go, the name of their company. With other, people who've really succeeded when it comes to money, when it comes to abundance, when it comes to, to wealth. Now, when I got in this industry, we built the company on health. We laid health as a foundation and we started to build on it. Here's then what I learned. If you don't learn how to be in charge of your energy, what happens if your mind creates a negative energy? You're screwed. What happens if somebody gives you a negative energy and you take it on? You're screwed. If you don't learn how to have control of your own energy, there's no way you're going to win the money game. There's no way you're going to win the health game, because I've seen through a lot of my top clients, super, super rich, but super unhappy, super angry, super stressed. Now, to me, that isn't success. Now, what I want to share is when I got into the money game, how was it that over 25 years, I did over $1 million, and I'm talking about £1 million here, over 25 years ago, with not even knowing a single business strategy. This is what I want to share with you, so that you can literally put your sail up and you can have this wind behind your sails that's going to take you on a journey, and that journey is going to create financial freedom. This is what we want to create, because if you haven't got that wind behind your sails, we can give you all the business strategies, all the basic tools, all what's needed, but because you're not working well, you won't use them to the best advantage. Whereas someone who's got this thing working well, they can manifest more money again and again and again and again and again. Why? Because they've got the fuel in the tank. So for me, how I learned this stuff was when I broke my back and I got told, that's it, you're never going to walk again. With what I learned around energy and around tapping into the body, the mind, and the spirit, but getting these three engines working in harmony, getting these three engines working in alignment, it changed everything for me. It was like unlocking a new door of life. And through that journey, I learned how to heal my own body. That gave me zero fear in the mind. And what it did was it had me go back to gymnastics fearless. Everyone around me was freaking out because they say, oh my God, what if you break your back again? But I had zero fear. Where does fear come from? The body, the mind, or the spirit? Only the mind. Now, your mind is always going to keep you in your comfort zone. Always. That's what its job is. But write this down. Life begins outside my comfort zone. Come on, write it down. Life begins outside my comfort zone. Now, when you understand that and you start taking action steps outside your comfort zone, that's where you can start to experience new realities. That's where you can learn something new. That's where you can grow and expand in a way that you haven't before. So for me, when I went back to gymnastics fearlessly, I found myself a world-class coach. I didn't just go back on an instinct. I didn't just go back with a personal will saying, oh, just go back and do this. I went back with a guidance. And the guidance was, this story is going to go out there to inspire people one day. And from someone who was told that I'd never stand or walk again, to go back and find myself a world-class coach. I found myself a coach who was 2 times world champion. He'd already walked down the road that I wanted to walk down. Now, when you want to walk down a certain road, ideally, you always want to find a coach who's already been down that road. Why? Because you will avoid so many traps. You'll avoid so many trip ups because they know the road ahead and they can say, hey, just do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And all of a sudden you start getting momentum going down a road because you've got guidance. But here's the challenge. Everybody's calling themselves a coach in today's world. You've got to find a world-class coach. Now, for me, my first world-class coach was Bruce Lee. Without finding out that Bruce Lee had also broken his back, he'd also been in traction, and he got told he'd never stand or walk again. It showed me that what I wanted was possible. And all I had to follow was what I learned from Bruce Lee. And that's where I learned about the body, the mind, and the spirit. And I learned, right, my body's broken down. I can now work on my spirit. My mind is now broken down. I can actually work on my mind as well. And by working on my mind and my spirit, by lifting up these 2 elements, it started to shift the energy and the frequency within the body, and the body started to regenerate and rebuild itself like it's programmed to do. Now, the challenge and the part of the reason why we're having this conversation is so many entrepreneurs, they sacrifice their health for wealth, or they sacrifice their body for wealth. They're either sacrificing their health, they're sacrificing immunity and energy, or they start sacrificing their physical body and they either get too big or too small, or the body gets weak, the body gets stiffer, the body breaks down. And it shouldn't be that way. I'm going to be nearly 50 years old, and I've got more energy now than what most people have in their 20s. And why? Write this down. Energy has no age. Energy has no age. Now, when you understand that this physical thing is only going to be here for a short time period, we got to learn how to use the body, the mind, and the spirit well, because otherwise you will fall in the trap. Like the first celebrity who I coached, this was a movie star client of mine. I was a big fan of his, and he had the fame, he had the fortune, and he lost everything. Why? Because if you don't have this balance and this alignment when you're making your decisions, I can tell you now, you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the fame in the world, but if you haven't dealt with you, you're going to get there and it's going to expand what you are. So if you're a selfish person, that's going to expand that. If you're an angry person, it's going to expand that. If you're a frustrated person, it's going to expand that. If you're a stressed out person, it's going to expand that. So we got to deal with you first, because when you start to get money, success, and power, it's like putting a magnifying glass on you, and all of those cracks that you've got, they're going to get magnified. I've seen it happen again and again and again. And this is why I'm so glad that you're here for this conversation, because when Tracy and I and Aaron, and we spoke about, like, you know, what do we want to talk about? We had there was a little conflict in what people need and what they want. And we know what people want, but it isn't what they need, because the challenge is we're brainwashed to want to be successful in a certain way. And what that's done is it's detached us from the truth of life. And write this down. Only in the truth can I be free. Write it down. Only in the truth can I be free. Because when we start to bring the truth back to your life, there's going to be some resistance. Why? Because we've got to break the mold on the old model. Now, for that, we've got to have some belief systems that change. And when we change those belief systems and we let go of limiting belief systems, and we understand that we're all miracle workers, we can all manifest miracles. And I want to teach you how to do this. And by the way, doing it is a lot of fun. Doing it, we tap back into that child element of what we had. Now, let me just ask you this question and just type yes or no in the chat. Let's say children between, 4 and 7 years old. Do those children, just type yes or no in the chat for what is the truth for you? Do those children have more energy than most adults? Yes or no? Do children move their bodies more than most adults? Yes or no? Do those children speak the truth more than most adults? Yes or no? Do those children have bigger dreams than most adults? Yes or no? Do those children speak the truth more than most adults? Yes or no? Look at these yeses just flying up the chat now. Do these children, in fact, look at that, just all of those elements that I just mentioned. How come most adults don't live with that stuff? Because it's been drained out of them. Now, that is the truth. Now, you should have big dreams until your last breath. You should be given life, everything you've got until your last breath. You should be moving your body naturally. Why? Because the body was created to move. When we move the body in fun ways, we release these endorphins. These endorphins send chemicals throughout the whole body, and we naturally feel good. But yet for most adults, they've got to be motivated to get themselves into the gym or to move their bodies, which is crazy, because if you then rely on motivation and you're not motivated, guess what? You're not going to do it. So we've become so distracted from the truth that we want to bring the truth back. Well, tell me now in the chat, are you ready for the truth? Tell me. Are you ready for the truth? Let me know. Aaron goes, yes. Aaron's the only one who's ready for the truth. Everyone else is no. Okay, cool. Right, perfect. Now, because it is only in the truth can we be free. Now, we're talking about really manifesting in abundance. We're talking about being able to go in and to trust our inner guidance. Now, here's what I want to say, that the challenge that humans are facing at the moment is connecting to the truth. Because what's happened is, from generation to generation, belief systems have started to be installed that have distracted us from the truth. And it goes back to the days of Adam and Eve, when we all got brainwashed that, you know, they ate the apple, they ate the forbidden fruit. And from that moment, humanity was cursed. That story that's been spread globally is just a lie. Adam and Eve were the heroes. Adam and Eve were the first humans that we knew of that took the fruit, which is what we're meant to be living on, as plant food. And within that, look what happened. Billions and billions of people have been formed. But here is now the default mode. The default mode in most humans is stress. The default mode in most humans is self-sabotage. The default mode in most humans is being a victim. It's not loving ourselves. It's not feeling that we're good enough. These are the default modes that people have now started to live with. And when they're waking up, that's what they go back to. That has been programmed into people as a lie. Here's what I want to say. That 4-year-old that's innocent and playful, that's our natural state. Imagine what you could create in your life if you could go back to being playful, if you could go back to being innocent, if you could go back to only speaking the truth, if you could go back to only living the truth, if you could go back to not having fears and worries. If all of that stuff was taken away from you, what do you think you'd be creating? I can tell you now, you'd be creating miracles. But the challenge is our environment shapes us. So what does this mean? It means that anything that you get connected to in life, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, it's feeding you and you're feeding it. The challenge is most of those environments that we go and step in, they're toxic. Most of our families don't support people to go out there and do what they want. Most governments don't do the same. Most businesses are breaking people down at some level. And again, this is why I honor what Tracy and Aaron are doing, because they want to give people financial freedom. And it's doable. It's possible. And in fact, it's essential for your own life to get this stuff. So here's what I want to be able to say, that when it comes to your life, you got to understand some basic principles. We've already covered and understood that your life is where it is because of the decisions that you've made in your life. So is it fair to say that if you want to manifest more, if you want to manifest in abundance, give me a yes or no in the chat if we have to change that we make the way that we make our decisions? Is that fair to say that? Okay, great. Now, understanding this, let's say this is the lowest frequency, and this frequency is when you're dead, right? So there's no life happening at this frequency down here. Up here is the highest frequency where we can manifest in abundance easily and effortlessly. So we got to understand where we're at on the scale from being pretty much dead and numb all the way up to manifesting in flow, in with least resistance, and with the most beauty being unraveled in front of our eyes. Now, here's what I want to say. The frequency that you make your decision in is what you're going to attract. Because everyone thinks it's about writing stuff down, getting clear on what you want. That's part of the process. If you're not clear on what you want, in fact, let's just do this now. So we're talking about manifesting in abundance. We're talking about tapping into our inner guidance system. We're talking about bringing into this reality more than what you've done so far. So everybody type in the chat now. What's something that you want to manifest? Let's type in the chat. Let's get this started. What's something that you want to manifest? Let's get clear. And by the way, when you type in the chat, you're not doing it for me. You're doing it for you. So Dorabet says, well, I want to manifest discipline. Well, I don't think you manifest discipline. So Jay is saying more energy. So they are saying filled no hope right now. Dale was the only one that was very clear on that suggestion, because this is what I want you to understand. When you start to say, right, I want to manifest something like more money. So Jay says, I want more money. Well, I could come and give you $1 and you've just manifested more money. Is that going to make you happy, satisfied? No. So let's get clear now. Everyone type in the chat now with more clarity what you want to manifest. Because just more money there's no clear direction to the universe. If you want to get this universal energy, if you want to get this energy that creates worlds out there, if you want to get that breathing through you got to get clear. So when Lang says more money, be specific. Let's get specific. How much more money? So $50,000 each year. Okay, great. Now, here's what I want to say. When there's a clear target, then the path can be created. If you don't create a clear target, because you are now the universe in physical form, which means what now? All the intelligence, all the wisdom, all the strength, all the magic, all the love, all the wisdom, all of that stuff can breathe through you so that you can make your physical reality whatever you want. That's the beautiful thing about what you can do in this physical world. Whether you've learned how to tap into that or not is going to depend on if you follow what I'm suggesting. And please, what we're going through now, let this just be the beginning of our connection, because, you know, we put like masterclasses and teachings and all sorts together so that you can continue your journey and we can basically serve you at greater levels. Now, what I want to say is only when you are clear. So if someone said, right, I want to lose weight. Well, let's be specific. Why do you want to lose weight? What do you want to look like? Because the more clearer you can be, the more you can start to tap into this intelligence of the universe. It's out there serving you all the time. Now, depending on how clear you're going to get on what you want manifested in this reality is going to depend on what stepping stone shows up. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, life is a journey that's full of many, many steps. And you're either going to start to step in this direction or you're going to start to step in this direction. Now, I go sailing every year with a group of people, and we hire these yachts and we go sailing. And I said to them on the last trip, imagine when we set out, if I only put a 5% degree change on one of the boats. So this boat's going to go straight ahead, but this boat's going to go only 5% to the side. So let's say that you change your life 5% every single day, and you're doing these little baby steps. Where are you going to be in a month, in 6 months, in a year, in a decade? In a radically different position. One boat's going to go, we halfway around the world here. Another one's going to be in a completely different place. It's exactly the same with your life, but the universe can't do its thing until you get clear. So let's type in the chat again. Let's get clear on your intention. So whatever you're writing down, you're getting clearer and clearer. Write down a clearer thing that you want to manifest. Let's get it clear as clear can be. Let's get it in. What's something that you want to manifest? What's something that by you already having this, it's going to be something that you're going to be able to live with, and you're going to be able to grow into it with a sense of joy, with a sense of high energy, with a sense of magic. Come on, let's type it in the chat. Let's get clear, everyone. Type it in, type it in. Let me see. Let's get clearer. So monthly income of 6K. Okay, so now we're getting clearer. Good. Okay, brilliant. So now you guys are getting clearer, because you got to understand this. This is your life. And every single day you're going to wake up to your life. So we got a chance now to start to change everything. Now, here's what I want to say. With what I'm sharing, we've seen people and people over in Singapore. I remember the last we did an event over in Singapore. It was our last event actually before lockdown happened, and we had a gentleman on there manifest $320,000 the day after the event. Now, he didn't even think that that was possible. How did he do that? By opening up to more of this wisdom. But he was so clear on what his task was. And his task was he wanted to like manifest millions that year. And it was a big stretch for him. But here's what I want to say. If you don't stretch yourself, when life is going to stretch you, it's going to hurt you. If you put more pressure on yourself, if you put more stuff on you, then here's what I want to say. You're going to start to grow the muscle. Because this is what I learned in gymnastics. When I got told that's it, you're never going to stand or walk again, the body got so weak, so quick because none of it was being used. When I started to put pressure back on the body, here's what I learned. It started to bounce back and regenerate super, super fast as well. And in that regeneration, what I found was the magic of what are in my teachings that I now share around the world. Because without us understanding that we are powerful beyond belief, we're never going to get to discover that within ourselves. So we've got to change our belief systems. Now, I want to just share a story where, you know, for me, what changed in my belief system, not believing I'd ever stand or walk again. When my mum told me about Bruce Lee and said, look, here's a guy, he broke his back, he came back fitter and stronger than before, instantly my belief system changed. Just like when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Before that, everybody said it's impossible for anyone to break the 4-minute mile. He had a different belief system. He worked every day with people around him thinking he was crazy. Oh, this is impossible. He's not going to do this. He's going to make himself look stupid. And what happened? He smashed that 4-minute mile. And that year, 37 other people smashed the 4-minute mile. Now what's happening? Students are smashing the 4-minute mile. So what once was impossible is now just a normal reality for some people. So what I want you to be able to do now is think what belief systems you've got that are holding you back. What have you created in your mind that's now holding you back? In fact, type some of them in the chat. Let me have a look. Let's see. Let's have a look at some of them in the chat. What's a limiting belief system that you've been living with? Let's put it in the chat. What's a limiting belief you want to let go of? Well done. So yeah, responsibility to others comes first. Yeah, no, the only responsibility you've got is to our creator and yourself. Those are the two first things. Honoring our creator that's given us this body, that's given us this planet, always honoring that the highest. Because what comes with that is gratitude. And gratitude can literally dissolve all the stress, all the mental torment. And having that attitude of gratitude is key. Now, here's what I want to say. So then when I learned that by activating the body, the mind, and the spirit, I can bring in an energy that is life-giving at the highest levels. Now, what I want to share is that when we understand that there is an energy out there, that now you got to understand this. 99.999999999% of what you are is non-visible and non-physical. Right, did you guys just hear what I even said then? Listen to this again. 99.999999999% of what we are is non-physical and non-visible. What does that mean? It's like, imagine that you got this and this is you, something physical. But then what do you use this for? You plug into 3G, 4G, 5G and Wi-Fi. What are you plugging into? Frequencies, energies. You plug it into something that you can't see, you can't taste it, you can't hold it. It's non-visible and it's non-physical. It's a frequency. Now, as humans, we have the same. When we learn how to plug into these higher frequencies, then we can generate more wealth. Not only can we generate more wealth, we can enjoy generating more wealth so that you do it again and again and again. Because if generating more wealth for you becomes a job, you're still sacrificing your time for money. There should be zero sacrificing in today's world. What we want to make sure we start doing is we start discovering. We discover the next best version of ourselves. We discover the next best way to go out there and serve. We discover something new to bring into our existence. We discover the next adventure. We discover unlimited things. Otherwise, we're going to get trapped in the mind. So back then, I knew that I had to free the mind and I had to tap into this force. And when I learned that over 99% of what we are is non-visible and non-physical, and here's what I want to do. I want to affect this physical. So do I want to stay in the physical and affect it with 0.0000001% of my power? No. So I go out of that. I plug it in the field. And as I plug it in the field and I start to feed this 0.00001% of what it needs, guess what happens? It starts to heal. It starts to regenerate. And in that process, I'm discovering, oh my God, this is incredible. This is amazing. So what did it do? It took me back to gymnastics. I went there. I found myself, as I said, a 2-time world champion coach. By me getting this world-class coach, and this is what I want to say for you, always find, in fact, write this down. I must find a world-class coach. Write it down. I must find a world-class coach. It's essential. If you don't find a world-class coach that's created wealth, health, and happiness, you could be literally driving off a cliff, because otherwise you can manifest all that money, but you've got to sacrifice your health or your wealth or something, your relationships, your family. You've sacrificed something in the process. That's because there's no balance and there's no alignment. So by understanding now that by tapping into the mind, the body, and the spirit, and by me following the steps of this world-class coach, I just had to be the student. And I turn up, and literally 18 months after working with him, I'm stood on that podium and they're giving me the gold medal for the English Sports Acrobatics Championships. It blew my mind. It blew everyone's mind. And it showed me, my God, there's so much more to discover. Now, here's what I did. I took what I learned around energy, around frequencies, into the business world. Now, for some of you, this is going to sound super weird. I didn't have a business strategy. What I had was a lot of energy, a lot of passion behind an idea that I knew would add value in people's lives. That's essentially what business is, making somebody's lives better. And when you learn how to do that, you win the game of life. So for me, when I learned that, I did over 1 million 25 years ago. Now, since then, I've been able to teach so many other people to create millions by putting a bigger wind behind their sail. So it's like, right, they put the sail up, I bring in the wind, and all of a sudden, now their ship's moving faster. Now their ship's moving with more power. Now their ship is moving with more precision. Now the ship is your mind and your body, you know, what you live in. So what I'd like to be able to do is to really give you guys a gift, because I want to be able to give you some tools. I want to be able to give you some strategies so that, one, you can understand frequencies at a better level. 2, you can start to understand how things are working within the mind and the body, how these connections are made, so that what we open up to, so that life can breathe through us into this physical reality, what comes through us will always serve life at the highest levels. Now, just to finish this off now, so I want to give you guys, well, I could give you guys a gift. If I was going to give you guys a gift of a masterclass called Supercharge Your Wealth, we've just ran this. I've just run it for a group of people, and they've already started to put into practice what I taught them in that, and they've already taken their action steps to move their life forward. And the results are out of this world. Why? Because we teach you how to go into the right frequency to make your decisions in life. If you're in a numb frequency and you make a decision in that numb frequency, hands up, you understand that there's no way that you're going to manifest what you want in that frequency, because you're numb when you make the decision. Yeah. Now, if we get you into not just a good frequency, not just a genius frequency, going way past the victim frequency, the poor me frequency, going up to what I call the supercharged frequency, I want to be able to teach you how you get into that frequency so that you can make decisions that will serve you and your loved ones at the highest levels. And to be able to do that, I think the easiest way would be for me to gift. In fact, who wants this gift? It's not going to cost you any money at all. Just type yes in the chat if you want this gift, where it's a masterclass. As I said, we ran it out in Costa Rica. We filmed it out in Costa Rica. If you'd like this gift, now here's what I'm going to do, because, okay, there's a few that want the gift. Right, we're going to put a link in the chat. Now, if you click that link, we're going to make that available to you for the next 3 days. Now, why am I giving it to you only for the next 3 days? Well, it's simple, because you've got to commit to it. So many people have distractions where this is important, that's important, social media is important, emails, whatever it might be. There's nothing as important as you discovering the best version of you. I want you to imagine that if you tapped into more of your genius, if you tapped into more of your energy, if you tapped into more of your love, if you tapped into more of your passion, if you tapped into more of your adventures, if you tapped into more of your intelligence, more of your wisdom, more of your magic, imagine tapping into that stuff and using that with every decision that you make in life. I can tell you now, your decisions are going to shape your reality. And by learning how to go into that higher frequency, it's going to change everything in your life. And it's fun, it's playful, it's not head stuff, it's not heavy stuff, because most of us are starting to live life in our heads instead of actually live it in our hearts, breathing through our hearts into the present moment. And so here's what I want to say. I just want to finish it off with this, because I know Tracy's got some other questions that she wants to bring in. With what you've written down around what you want to manifest, you've now got to focus on that consistently. Why? Because where focus goes, energy flows. And if your focus is going on what's wrong in life, if your focus is going on being the victim, that's going to be your reality. This is what I want to say. When you get focused and say, well, I want an extra 5K a month, I want an extra 10K a month, whatever it is, something that's related around money. If you break down in achieving that, there's no success. If you don't achieve it, there's no success. What I want to show you is not only how to achieve it, but how to become more by achieving it. Helping people get these miracle results is literally my zone of genius. And this is what I really, really want to be able to help you with, so that you can literally have it all by learning how to supercharge your wealth. Imagine that you've got your wealth here. And what we do is we put more energy, we put more abundance, we put more stuff into this, and this just starts to grow and expand. It's law. It's not complicated, but you've got to be coachable. Now, if you are coachable, then that link that we've just put in the chat, get yourself registered now. It's for free. It's not going to cost you anything whatsoever. You can click on that link and you can watch it within the next 3 days. I think it's, you'll have to block out a couple of hours to be able to watch it. But here's what I want to say. I promise you this. When you watch it, it's going to unlock the secrets. When you watch it, it's going to make you go, oh my God, that's it. Because life should not be complicated. We've got all of the data from the hundreds of thousands of years that we've lived on this planet as a species. And we've realized that the best parts of people have been kept from them. And what we now want to do is we want to expose this back to you so that you can discover the best thing on the planet. And the best thing on this planet is you that functions well. You that functions with balance, you that functions with alignment. So what does that mean? When stressful things come in, they just bounce off you. They're not going to get under your skin. They're not going to pull you down. They're not going to tear you down. And that way you can manifest exactly what you want again and again and again. And you can show your loved ones how to do it. And it isn't complicated. It's only as complicated as you learning the alphabet, you learning how to speak. When you learn this stuff, and you allow me, to be your coach, to be able to guide you through this step by step, I promise you what's on the other side is everything that your heart and soul desires. So I could carry on talking forever, but I know Tracy's got some more questions. So over to you, Tracy.
Tracy,
you're muted.
Yeah, Tracy, unmute.
Thank you, Skip, for the inspirations. We have been with you for so many years, and Aaron and myself have benefited tremendously from the session that you've done. and the retreat that you have conducted. And many of our students also have big transformations, the life change after their event. So nowadays is everybody working very hard and not getting the result they wanted, and a lot of them are living in a depression mode. So it is important for us to elevate yourself with a higher consciousness. I will encourage every one of you to click the link to register for the Supercharge Your Wealth, because Skip, his presentation is not like scripted, it's not like something they get it from the book, it's come from inspiration. I know when he does his job, he hardly sleep. He has a lot of inspiration during the training. So it's very authentic. Don't miss the opportunity to click on the link. But what I want to ask a question is, like, a lot of people know about manifestation, law of attractions, all these, like, they find it is very abstract. Some of them don't, only when I see, I believe in it. So what is exactly the true meaning of manifestation? And then is manifestation also similar to law of attractions? And the third question is, how do you know you are manifesting?
Good question. I like it. So the truth is, everyone's manifesting their reality, whether they know it or not. The challenge is, are they manifesting the reality that they want to live in? Because this law of attraction is real. Whatever we put out there energetically, we get back tenfold. Now, everything, when we get down to the most fundamental essence of what all life is created from, it's all created from energy, all of it. But here's the challenge. There's many different levels of energy. There could be a creative energy where a good, clean, beautiful energy can breathe through us and we put that into our creation, or we could have a toxic energy breathing through us, and that could go into destroying something. So what we need to understand is that we're a walking receiver, that wherever we go around the world, we're receiving what it is that we're tuned into. So to give another example, let's say that we're driving a car and say I'm the driver and you're sat next to me, Tracy, and we've got a whole, everyone who's on this call right now, we've got all them as our passengers, and we're driving along, and all of a sudden, we're listening to some beautiful music, and then all of a sudden, say, like, some heavy rock music comes on, and you and I look at each other and, well, oh my God, I don't like that music. And you go, Skip, I don't like this music. Do you? And I said, no, I don't like it either. Right, can you drive away from it quickly? It's going to be a question that can't be answered with any truth, because of course I can't drive away from it. Why? Because wherever we take that vehicle, our receiver is going to pick up that same song wherever we go. Now, the same goes for human beings. Wherever they go in life, depending on the frequency that they're tuned into, is what they're going to receive. Now, let me give people an example of how they've done this, maybe subconsciously without them knowing. Let's say that, like I say this to people, the quality of our lives is going to come down to the quality of our relationships that we create in life. Now, we can't avoid connecting with other humans on this planet, and we don't want to. We want to be able to use other humans well, so that coming together, we can all become more, because you're using me, I'm using you, for our best parts. And by coming together, we can do more together than we ever could alone. That's the beautiful thing about this happening instead of this. So let's say that in a relationship, let's say it's two people that are connected well, but there's stuff going on at a subconscious level, and they keep battling each other. And they both want to be right, and they both believe that they are right. Who's going to win that battle? None of them. Because this is not about winning. Winning comes from the mind. Now, the mind has taken over the energy that we should be creating life with. Now, what do I mean by that? Our minds have been educated so well. Now, when I ask people about kids, do they have more energy than most adults? Yes. Do they move their bodies naturally more than most adults? Yeah. Do they speak the truth more than most adults? Yeah. Do they live in the moment more than most adults? Yeah. Do they have more natural joy than most adults? Yeah. Do they have bigger dreams than most adults? So all of these things are natural in children. But how come they're not in most adults? Because all the energy has gone from being in the moment to being in the head. The challenge is when we go in the head, I say we're dead, because the head can only regurgitate what we've put in it. Now, most of the things that we've put in our mind are negative. Most of the things that we've learned have distracted people from connecting to that truth from within themselves. So what we've got to understand is that those three elements, the body, the mind, and the spirit, here's what I want to say. When we can bring these three things together and they start to work in harmony together, then magic happens. Now imagine that you've got a big round circle here that says the mind, a big round circle here that says the body, a big round circle here that says spirit. We bring these three elements together, there's going to be areas where they cross over. Those areas that they cross over, that's what I call the miracle zone. In those miracle zones is where miracles happen. We have to bring the union back together of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Now, for that to happen, the mind has to be clear on what it wants. What do we want to manifest in the next chapter? What do I want for my body? What do I want for my mind? What do I want for my energy? What do I want for my finances? What do I want for my family? What do I want for my lover? What do I want for my kids? Whatever it might be, we got to be so clear. The challenge is we don't get taught how to create clarity, because the education system is we focus on one subject, the bell goes, we leave that undone. We then focus on a subject, the bell goes, we leave that undone. And there's all these things up in the air and nothing ever gets completed. So the education system that we've all gone through is out of date. It's like an out of date app. It does not work, because if it did work, everybody would have health, wealth, and happiness, and they don't. So here's what we've got to understand is that when we bring together that body, the mind, and the spirit, and we're bringing them together, then what happens is a new energy will come through us. By having a new energy coming through us, it changes the frequency that we go in. It's like turning the dial. So I'd say to you, Tracy, look, I'm driving this vehicle. I can't drive away from it because we're tuned into 99.7. So wherever we go, that 99.7 is going to get us. That 99.7 could be depression. That 99.7 could be self-sabotaging ourselves. That 99.7 could be frustration. It could be anger. It could be anything that's going to disempower us from bringing out into this reality the best of what we can. And it's always miracles. It's always miracles. We are powerful beyond belief. So then what I can say to you is, well, I can change this song in a heartbeat. You're like, what do you mean? I said, I don't have to drive away feeling like I'm running away. This is what people do in relationships. This is what they do in business. This is what they do when things aren't going well. They're trying to run away from the problem, but they can never escape it. Why? Because they're still tuned in to 99.7. So wherever they go, they're going to take those problems with them. What I want to be sharing with people through this masterclass, with this Supercharger Wealth, is how they can shift their frequency. So they just press a button, turn the dial, and immediately they're going to start to receive something different. Immediately. And in that is relief. In that is, oh my God. And now quite often we'll look back and go, instead of judging somebody else and go, this person's got to change, that person's got to change. Usually it's pointed at us. Oh my God, I can't believe I said this. I can't believe I did this. Oh my God, I should have done this more conscious. And then what happens is we learn the lesson. Because if we don't learn the lesson to crank up through the frequencies, then we stay in that frequency with a belief that we know more. And this is the challenge around law of attraction. This is the challenge around spirituality. This is the challenge around religions. They're giving people an intellectual perception of what reality is. The only way that we can understand is reality is to taste it, is to experience it. So this is why everyone now is having their own experience in the game of life. What we want to now do is shift their frequencies so that their quality of their experience goes up and up and up and up and up. And it doesn't just happen in their wealth. It happens in all the areas that they're connected to in life. It's beautiful is what it is when you see people get this. And it's just like giving them the Wi-Fi code. If I give you the Wi-Fi code, anyone can come around my house. I give them the Wi-Fi code, boom, they get connected to the World Wide Web. And it's like this. Anyone can learn this stuff. It doesn't matter where they're at. So long as they click that link and they get themselves registered and they watch it within the next 3 days, they're going to get an incredible education around frequencies, because we've got to make sure that we understand frequencies, because without understanding frequencies, there's no way we can win at the game of life. There's no way.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I can verify that because in the Detox Your Life that Skip conducted after the 5 days training, a lot of people transform because they have body detox, they have spiritual cleansing, they have also have mind and body and spirits cleansing. When they come back from the retreat, a lot of them have their life change, their harmony with the family, and they have a lot of opportunity comes your way, and then welcoming to their way, that life become a lot effortless. This is true, because I have Aaron, myself, and many of us have really experienced that. I have one very important question. Is like, we talk about the inner guidance system. What is the purpose of the inner guidance system, and why is it important for entrepreneurs and the business people to access and activate inner guidance system?
It's the most important, because otherwise what you're going to do is you're going to end up living somebody else's dream. And the most important thing is to be able to trust something within ourselves. Now, this is really what I learned from Bruce Lee. And to me, as soon as I learned this, it changed the way I connected and communicated with myself. It changed the way that I connected and communicate with our creator. It changed the way that I connect and communicate with the planet. It changed the way that I manifested money. It changed the way that I built relationships within that wealth creation. It changed everything, because let's see if people can get their human minds around this. Every single one of us is the universe now in physical form. And because we are the universe in physical form, what it means is that the more we can understand about ourselves, the more power we can tap into. Now, think about what we live in. We live in a body that's made of trillions of cells. Now, eye cells know how to be eye cells. Bone cells know how to be bone cells. Liver cells know how to be liver cells. Skin cells know how to be skin cells. Teeth cells know how to be teeth cells. Now, what we know is that every single one of those cells, about a year from now, they're brand new cells. In 7 years, everything's completely brand new. But in about a year from now, most of what we are is regenerating so fast that we're in this regenerating machine. Now, if the machine is regenerating so often, and we know that this machine is going to shut down one day, what's the only thing that is in us that isn't of physical matter? And it's our spirit. Now, what this means is that this human spirit is the most beautiful part of what we are. When we go into that human spirit, we dissolve all negative thoughts. We dissolve anything negative from the mind. We also dissolve anything negative that the body may have picked up, because what we're now understanding in today's world is that a lot of these physical pains that people are having, they're not actually physical pains. What they are these trapped emotional energies that have been blocked in the body. And this is why when we run the 5-day retreat, Tracy, we see people have instant healings. Why? Because we're unblocking the energy flows through straight away, and it can be an injury that they might have had for 10, 20 years dissolved like that, because we're understanding that this game of life is all built around energy. So what we've got to understand is that this thing that we live in is going to be receiving information depending on the frequency that you're in. If you tune into classic FM, guess what? You're going to get classic music. If you tune into pop FM, guess what? You're going to get pop music. If you tune into LBC, you're going to get the news. If you tune into any of these different frequencies, you know what you're going to get when you go there. It's exactly the same with these frequencies that we have to learn how to tune into as humans. So when we can learn how to tune ourselves and our cells of our body differently, we change everything. So within that masterclass, I'm going to show people how they can start to tune their frequency. And even after that masterclass, we're offering a live experience that people can actually come and actually experience it live with me, so they can go through it with me, so they can understand not just how to do it from an intellectual level, but how they can do it from a physical, a mental, emotional, and spiritual level, so that they can literally learn how to be in a frequency for every decision that they're going to make. And when I say a frequency, I mean a frequency that's going to serve them. Because if we don't learn how to get ourselves into a higher frequency, then you're never going to know what you don't know. And the mind will always keep us trapped. The mind will always keep us in our comfort zone. So we've got to go outside the comfort zone. We've got to learn something beyond what we're living with at the moment. Because the challenge is, if people carry on living the way that they're living, they're going to carry on getting the same results. And this is ultimately what we want. We want an abundance of money flowing to us. And that's natural. That's nature. There's an abundance of energy coming in. There's an abundance of air coming in. There's an abundance of water coming in. There's abundance of sunlight coming in. There's all this abundance coming in, which is what we're made of. We can then have anything coming to us in abundance: love, money, success, adventures, any of that stuff. That's just getting in alignment with the truth. Then what we can do is we can start to reshape the body that we live in, so that we're living in a body that we're super proud of. We then start to create incredible relationships, so that we love connecting with people, not like, oh God, I got someone calling me and I'm trying to block the number, or I don't want to pick up the call. No, it's going to be a completely different frequency, where life is going to give you the opportunity to serve at even higher levels. But until you've learned how to serve yourself at the highest levels, you can't go and serve anybody else. And it's what I said earlier, the secret of living is giving, but we've got to learn how to give to ourselves first. And that's what I want to share with people in that masterclass, is how you can make it simple in giving to yourself, so that what you take yourself, you can go and give that back tenfold. Because as soon as you've taken something and you've applied it and it's taught you how to grow and expand, now you've got a direct experience in how to share that with somebody else. And that's where our world is at the moment. It's having this consciousness shift, and having that consciousness shift without the resistance of learning how to let go of all the stuff that isn't working in the past, and learning how to let go of what's clogging your life up, and learning how to reconnect to parts of you that are wanting to come out into this reality. Oh my God, it changes life so radically, because it's like changing that frequency. And instead of listening to heavy metal music, now we've got classic music, or now we've got something that nourishes us. We've got something that feels good. It tastes good. It just brings more life in. And unfortunately, this isn't the life that we get taught in our schools and our education system. And it taught me being slammed down hard by life, but learning how to rebuild coming up. And this is what I want to be able to teach people step by step, in how they can rebuild their wealth, how they can rebuild their energy, how they can rebuild themselves in a way where their body, mind, and spirit can start to work in ways that they've never experienced before. And it's a game changer. And it's the most, I think it's the most beautiful journey to go on.
Yeah. For those people who are still struggling in their life and very stressed out with their work and jobs, I just have an advice to you: just sit back and relax and go inward. And what's important thing is like focus on raising your vibrational energy. Because once you raise your frequency, I think life will change. Everything will go smoother. The relationship will be better, and your business aspects will be enhanced. So Aaron, myself, Skip, all the times we are just spending a lot of our time to elevate our consciousness, to raise our frequency and vibration energy. This is the best way, because when you have a high frequency, I can tell you that you become a very lucky person. Every day, everywhere you go, people like you, people were impressed with you, and they just trusted you. Sorry. They just trusted you, and then when you have a high vibrational energy, it's the best way when you deal with sales. People just connect with you very easily, and you close you just like that. I personally experienced that you don't need to work very hard, because when you are in flow with the frequency, you are effortless. It's like exactly the Tao Te Ching say, Wu Wei. no actions. So when you have the intention and then you put in the attentions, then it's just no tensions because you already done what you have done. So there's one more questions I'd like to ask Skip, that what's stopping people from really becoming the best version of themselves? What's stopping them?
Oh, these are really good questions. Really good questions. I think what's stopping people is the belief that they're not good enough. Because here's what I want to say. If you knew, everyone who's watching this right now, if you knew that you couldn't fail at anything in life, you just go for it. And children just go for stuff. And they go for it with all their energy, with everything that they've got, because they've got nothing else. The challenge with adults is they verbally commit to something, but they don't fully commit. And this is why, I wanted to give this masterclass away to see, after this interview, how many are serious about really wanting to manifest the realities that they want. And to be able to do that, they've got to learn how to supercharge their wealth, because it isn't just making decisions when you're trading, when you're in business. Every decision that you make is going to take your life into a certain direction. And that's either going to be a direction that serves you, or it's going to be a direction that doesn't serve. It's black or white. It's one or the other, because there are empowering decisions and there are disempowering decisions. And what we've got to make sure we do is we get on that vibe of making those empowering choices. Now, this is how I make all of my choices. I'm like, right, this decision, is it going to make me grow? Is it going to make me shrink? If it's going to make me grow, I take it every time. Even if in my mind I'm thinking, oh my God, I haven't got time for it, I can't afford it, now's not the right time. My mind will come up with, and our minds will come up with every reason why not to grow and expand. It's hardwired to keep you in your comfort zone. That's why you can't trust your minds anymore. So what you've got to do is, and sometimes we can't even trust our own gut, because our mind is overriding everything. So what we've got to do is learn how to be so present in the moment that we say, right, this decision that I've now got to make, and it could be like, just say for this masterclass, do I watch the masterclass or do I not watch the masterclass? Well, let's have a look. Weigh it up. If you're going to give 2 hours of your life up to something that was designed to teach you how to supercharge your wealth, is that going to be a good investment of your time? That's all you've got to be able to work out. If it's going to be a good investment of your time and you're resonating with some of the things that Tracy and Aaron are saying, and myself are saying here, then those 2 hours, it could be a really good investment of your time. If you don't think it's a good investment of your time, don't do it. Because ultimately, you've got to know this is going to serve me. Now, there's no way that Tracy and Aaron will bring me on their platform if what I'm sharing doesn't work. We worked many, many years together, and I will only bring something into the public domain if I've tried and tested it myself. Or I get literally an instant download, just like we download stuff of our phones. Sometimes I can be literally in the moment and download something in that moment that's going to go and serve the person in front of me. Now, what I share, it works, everyone. It's not a gimmick. It's not a fad. It's not the latest trend. It's tried and tested stuff that anyone can do it. It's helped people earn millions and millions by applying this stuff. Why? Because they learn how to get themselves into higher frequencies when they're making the trade, when they're making a certain decision. And I want to show how fast this stuff works. One of a client of mine who started applying this stuff, he did 4 million in year one. Next year, he was living in a £4 million house. Next year, he goes and wins a global award for what he does. Now, we have people winning so many awards now simply because they're giving themselves an unfair advantage. And what's that? By getting the body, the mind, and the spirit to work as one engine, not having the body pull us one way or the mind pull us another way or the spirit pull us another way. So we feel that we're being ripped apart. This is about bringing these three elements together. So now we go in one direction and we get that force behind us in ways that very few people ever get to experience. So I think the short answer is the only way that we can manifest what we want is we've got to create that balance. We've got to create that alignment. And where that crosses over, that's the miracle zone that we get to create in. And that you're going to learn in that masterclass in Supercharge Your Wealth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Skip. I think we also almost 1.5 hours time's gone. Thank you, Skips, for such an enlightening session with us. And the because Skip have been talking about the guiding system. The guiding system is so crucial and important in our life, because when you access to a guiding system, it's like a lot of people understand what is the intuition is all about. And I myself benefited tremendously. I personally have invested 11 properties. All the 11 properties, 9 out of 11 already double in values, because the property I bought, I don't analyze a lot. It's all through guiding system. It was a surprise. I just have the guiding system. I need to buy this property. Every time I pass by, I told Aaron that I need to buy that. I need to buy. I have not seen anything like that. I've not seen the property yet. I already have the guiding system. I wanted to buy that. So Aaron had been told me that you already repeating so many times you want to buy that, but we have not seen the property at all. So we just went to see, and with gut feeling, I just bought it, and within some years, it just doubled in value. And similarly to other properties also. So and it's just happened another one also. I have this strong gut feelings that I need to invest in this property. And a lot of people told me that the market is crashing. Don't buy any properties. Wait until the market crashed. So I waited for about 2 months. But my strong gut feeling still coming in. So I said, I don't care, I just bought it. And luckily I bought it, because by the time I bought it, only 2 more units left. If I have to delay another 1 month away also, it's the property I love is no longer available. And not talking about waiting until the crash. So every month I've been on the third week of the month at 8 p.m. I will share with you the law of prosperity, because whatever you do without the prosperity mindset, you can be successful in short period of time, and you keep it back. You sabotage yourself because of the limiting belief that you have. You sabotage yourself, and you find reason to give it back. And similar to trading, you can make a lot of money without the right mindset. I can assure you that this money will not stay with you for a long time. You just find excuses to give it back to the market. So in order to sustain your wealth and make life effortless in your life, it's very important. Business strategy, whatever methods that you have, must be in line with the right mindset. And when you're in line with the mind, spirit, and soul, everything comes easy. So thank you so much for your participations. And if you want to learn more about the law of prosperity, just register. You have the link. Grace, you have sent the link, right?
Well, just on what you're saying, Tracy, I just want to add to it a little bit, because when you start, this is what I want to explain to people. The more you surrender to these higher powers, the less your mind has to get involved, the less struggle there is, the less pain there is, the more life can feed you, and the more joys you can experience in this world. So exactly what you was just saying there, Tracy, about a property, I've done exactly the same. When we earn a certain money, we always earn money and then we go and reinvest it somewhere else. Now, the properties that I bought, I just had one of my financial advisors come to me. Now, this is why I want everyone to be able to get, and anyone can get this. Honestly, if I can get it, anyone can get it. He literally called me up and he went, Skip, he goes, your London house, I'm going to rejig some things on it. So you can literally have £500,000 to do with what you want. I said to him, what? He dropped me a voice message in WhatsApp. I called him. I said, what are you talking about? And cutting a long story short, I put out there an intention to see if I could get £500,000 easy. This is how law of attraction works, but it will work like this, everyone, because you're planting seeds. Now think about how tiny you were as a seed and what you've grown into now. Think about an apple seed, how it can grow into a massive apple tree. Now everything is growing and expanding. That's just law. That's just now you're doing the same, but how you grow on your journey is going to depend to how balanced and aligned you are with the truth. Now, when I called him back and I said, what do you mean? And he says, well, he goes, I can have you just sign a couple of documents and now listen to this, your mortgage will come down and you're now going to have £500,000 in cash pounds to go and do with what you want. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, that was so effortless. That was ridiculous how effortless that one was. Now, obviously that came from seeds that I planted in the past. But this is what I want everyone to understand. When we're talking about prosperity, we're talking about consistency. Because if we're not consistent, because every action that you take in your life, it's either going to set you up for a better tomorrow or it's not. It's going to be one or the other. So there are actions that you need to take. Now, how do you know what to take the actions? It comes down to exactly what Tracy's saying. You got to go within. You got to have an inner guidance system saying, right, we're going to do this. Now, sometimes you might have everyone saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Like crypto and NFTs, they've gone crazy in that frequency where people are being swept into stuff and they're putting their money into stuff that they don't even know what they're putting the money into. So they haven't got clarity. And then when they lose the money, what happens? Everyone's complaining and there's loads of bad vibes around money. Why? Because you basically gave your money away because you weren't clear. Now, you could have been clear and listened to your gut that said, do not do this. Do not do this. But if you got friends or you got like certain coaches around you or certain messages coming at you online saying, no, do it. Now's the time. And they squeezing you into it, usually that might not be the best decision for you. Whereas I know the way that Tracy and Aaron and myself do business, we invite people into stuff. We're not here to squeeze you. We're here to show you what's possible, but you've obviously need to take that leap. You've got to be able to take those steps. So I just wanted to share that, Tracy, because as soon as you shared that, I was like, oh my God, I've had exactly the same come up. And I had to make one decision to purchase that property. That was it. I made one decision. And then years later, I've got, one of my advisors literally working his magic and pulling out over £500,000 in something that I had to do nothing on it. So what we're talking about, having money invested in different areas, don't have all your eggs in one basket, spread things out, start to understand, right, maybe I'm going to put a little bit over here, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. And then all of a sudden you can start to work out what's working well for you. And then the ones that are working well, you start to get more momentum behind it. Like for me, just to finish it off, Tracy, I realized that I was my number one investment and I started to invest everything in making me better. And as soon as I did that, things literally start to happen. Money started to come in abundance. So that's the trick that I brought into the mix. I realized that if I get this thing working better, then every decision I make can be a decision that serves me at a high level.
Yeah. Just like before we end this session, I just want to give you guys advice. Just remember 3 words: attention, intention, attention, no tension. Remember this. Intention, you must set your goal exactly what you want in life. Put in the attention to it. Do the best that you can. When you're done your job, just leave it. Let go. Then the outcome will come to you. The positive outcome will come to you. It happened to me again when I letting go. When I don't let go, I still put attention to it. I may not get the result as that. As soon as I let go, miracle things happen many times. So trust these 3 words. You put in you must have the intention for it. Whatever thing you do without intention is like shooting an arrow, is no direction. Yeah. Then you put in the attention, do your best, and enhance your skill on shooting the arrow. And then after that, just let go. You already done your best. So trust the universe will give you the best result that you wanted. So this is my gift to you for this 2022, because it does because a lot of miracles happen in my life by applying the intention, attention, and no tension. No attention is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. When you are letting go, the miracles will happen.
And I just want to add to that to make it so simple. Like we teach this at the events, like you just summarized it so simply, Tracy, that without an intention, you can't get the universe breathing through you, because the intention is what ripples something out of you. That will then ripple back and it will give you your next action step. Only when you take that action step can you equal the magic. Without you taking the necessary action step. Now, how do we know what action steps to take? You're going to learn that in that Supercharge Your Wealth masterclass, because so many people are tripping themselves up. And it just doesn't have to be that way. That phase that we're at now, we're at the awakening phase. We're at the phase of life now where we get to awaken into our greatness. And you don't want to miss the boat on this, because you get to discover the universe in all of its intention, in all of its intelligence, breathing through you into this beautiful game called life. And this planet has spent billions of years preparing for our arrival. And we've now arrived. We want to make sure that we're in alignment with the forces of nature. We want to make sure that we're in alignment with the forces of the universe. We want to make sure that we're in alignment with the forces of our mind, body, and spirit. We create alignment with those areas. I can tell you now, miracles will be born through you. It's just science. And we're now able to explain that science, and it makes it super fun as well.
Yes. Yeah. So we have time is up. Yeah. We take this opportunity. We wish every one of you have a very happy, joyful, prosperous Christmas, New Year, and for the many years to come.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Tracy and Aaron, for inviting me on your platform. I really hope that those people that are watching, let me know in the chat. Did you get any value from this conversation? Let me know. Because it's always good to get that feedback. For me, like feedback is the breakfast of champions. And I always want to make sure that, what I'm sharing, it resonates in a frequency that you can understand it. And you can always then go and take your next action step. And I truly believe that if you take your next action step to click that link to watch that masterclass in the next 3 days, it's going to allow you to keep those steps going in the right direction so that you can manifest miracles too. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Wealth Mentors.
Thank you,
and Merry Christmas to.
Yeah. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye-bye.